You can bring it up on the screen. If it's visible, I mean, I don't know how the screens are. I guess that'd be big enough. It should be okay. Or you can connect to my computer on PowerPoint. If you have a means of connecting, I can show a few more slides. Jai Jai Jagannath Swami, Jai Jagannath, Jai Jagannath Swami, Jai Jagannath. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Vedanta Swaminiti Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvasesha Sunyavariti Pastyatya Desatarine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvasesha Sunyavariti Jachari Shatarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sariti Gaura Bhaktivedanta Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sariti Gaura Bhaktivedanta Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sariti Gaura Bhaktivedanta Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sariti Gaura Bhaktivedanta. Can we see on the screen? Can you see? You can see it, okay. We probably won't sing the whole song, it'll take a long time, but we'll sing a few verses. Jagannathaswami, Jagannathaswami, Nayana Patagami, Bhavatu me. Jagannathaswami, Nayana Patagami, Bhavatu me. Kadachit Kalindi Tata Vipina Sankita Karavo Kadachit kalindi tata vipina sankitkaravo Muda pirinari padana kamalasvara madhupaha Muda pirinari padana kamalasvara madhupaha Brahma Shambhu Brahma Marapati Ganesha Chittaparo Brahma Shambhu Brahma Marapati Chittaparo Jagannathastakam Nayana Patagami Bhavatu me Jagannathastakam Nayana Patagami Bhavatu me Puje savye venum shirasi shikipicham katitate Puje savye venam shirasi shikipicham katitate Dukulam netrante sahachari kataksham Vidadate Sadashimad Vrindavana Vasati Lila Parichayo Jagannathastakam Nayana Patagami Bhavatu me Jagannathastakam Nayana Patagami Bhavatu me Mahambodhistire Kanakaruchire Nila Shikare Vasan prasadantak sahaja balabhadrena balina Subhadra Madhyastak Sakala Suraseva Vasarado Subhadra Madhyastak Sakala Suraseva Vasarado Jagannathastakam Nayana Patagami Bhavatu me Jagannathastakam Nayana Patagami Bhavatu me Kripa Paravara Sajjala Jaladashveni Ushiro Brahmavani Ramak Spura Dhammalapanke Uhamukha Surendraradya Shrutigana Shikagita Charito Jagannathaswami Nayana Patagami Bhavantu me Rataruda Gachan Patihilita Budeva Patai Stuti Padurbhavam Pratiparam Upakanya Sadaya Daya Sindur Bandhu Sakala Jagatam Sindhu Sutaya Jagannathaswami Nayana Patagami Bhavatu me Param Brahma Pira Kuvalaya Dalot Pula Mayano Nivasini Ladu Nihita Charano Nanta Shirasi Rasanandivara Sarasava Puralingana Sukho Jagannathaswami Nayana Patagami Bhavatu me Navaya Cherajam Nachakam Nakamanikya Vibhavam Daya Cheham Ramyam Sakala Janakam Yang Varavarum Sada Kale Kale Pramatapatina Kita Charito Jagannathaswami Nayana Patagami Bhavatu me Bharatam samsaram duttataram asaram surapate. Bharatam papanam vittatim aparang yada papate. Ohodinena te nihita charano nistitam idam. Jagannathastakam nayana patagami bhavatu me. Jagannathastakam nayana patagami bhavatu me. Jaya Jagannath Swami, Jaya Jagannath, Jaya Jagannath Swami, Jaya Jagannath. Jaya Jagannath Swami, Jaya Jagannath, Jaya Jagannath Swami, Jaya Jagannath. Jaya Jagannath Swami, Jaya Jagannath, Jaya Jagannath Swami, Jaya Jagannath. Jaya Baladeva, Jaya Subhadra, Jaya Baladeva, Jaya Subhadra. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jagannathastakam nayana patagami, nayana patagami bhavatu me. Jagannathastakam punyam yapadet prayatak shuchi sarva papa vishuddhatma Vishnu lokam sagachati. I won't read the translation, it will take a long time. But the last line, which is we didn't sing it. The soul of that self-restrained and virtuous person who recites these 8 verses, glorifying Lord Jagannath, becomes cleansed of all sins and duly proceeds to Lord Vishnu's abode, or whichever abode you wish to go to. So, I quickly put this together a little bit for this morning. I hope you can see it on the screen. I think it's clear. Today being the all-auspicious occasion of Jagannath Rath Yatra. And this is since 1969, so how many years? Is it 47th? 47th Rath Yatra this year, I think? Yeah, it'll be the 47th. Because the first one's the first, right? So this will be the 47th. 47, yeah. 57? Thank you. You saved me. 57th. 57th Rath Yatra in London. So, some of you have been coming for a long time for this Rath Yatra. I don't know when your first Rath Yatra in London was, or somewhere else maybe. But now, of course, it's going on in the UK in 40 plus cities or towns in the UK, correct? Yesterday was Watford, I believe. Unless they got flooded out, I'm not sure. But yesterday was Watford. And somewhere else today, there's another Rath Yatra going on in ISKCON. In India now, how many Rath Yatras ISKCON have is reduced a little bit because of a law which has been imposed. That in India, every single Rath Yatra in ISKCON has to take place between the official Rath Yatra day in Puri, the outward Rath Yatra, and the return Rath Yatra. So that's a matter of 8 days. So ISKCON has to have Rath Yatras wherever they are between that period. But that's not the case all over the world, but in India it is. So it does tend to reduce the number of Rath Yatras which they're having. I think in Delhi they're having about 100 Rath Yatras a year or something, so they've had to reduce it somewhat because of the time frame. But they're still having dozens of Rath Yatras in Delhi during that week. And luckily in the West, such a law does not apply, or anywhere outside of India, basically. So I don't know how many Rath Yatras are going on worldwide, but it'll be something close to 1,000, I would say, up or down, within ISKCON. And then there are many other groups holding Rath Yatras here and there. It's such a great festival. So we're just going to look at a few pictures, then we'll talk a little bit. As I say, I just put this together. It's nothing very much, and I suppose others have done much more than this, but I don't have access to that. It'd be a wonderful thing to do a beautiful presentation of Rath Yatra in the UK. I don't know if you've done it. From day one, I'm not recollecting seeing such things. Who knows when the first Rath Yatra in the UK was? Well, I already gave you a hint just now. You may remember or not, I don't know. The first Rath Yatra in the UK, Jagannath Rath Yatra. Which year? 1969. Many of you were not born in 1969. And that Rath Yatra was from Marble Arch, about 200 meters down Park Lane. At that moment, the Rath Yatra cart collapsed and didn't move an inch more. And it was the biggest traffic jam in London's history. They carried Lord Jagannath from there to Trafalgar Square by hand. So that was an interesting start to Rath Yatra in London. I hope it's improved a little bit since then. Do we have 1 or 2 or 3 carts today? 3. Because sometimes I've seen 1, but usually 3. In those days, of course, it was only 1 cart. And later it became 3. I don't know what year it became 3, but when I was living in the UK, it was always 1. But now it's good that it's 3. Titikshu Prabhu Ki Jai. Well, that's not London, as you can see. That's just a painting of a Rath Yatra in Puri during Lord Chaitanya's time. In fact, you can see Lord Chaitanya dancing in many places if you look carefully on that picture. Several, I don't know many, but several places you can see him dancing. This is a very simplistic painting of the festival during Mahaprabhu's time, where the Rath carts were huge and the attendance, as always, was huge. And Lord Chaitanya had organized 7 parties. And he directly organized 4 parties dancing around the chariots. He chose the lead singer, he chose the lead dancer, he chose the mridanga players, he chose the kartal players. Everything was very organized. It wasn't a free-for-all. It was free, but it was for Krishna. Everything was very focused on the purpose of Rath Yatra, to fulfill Srimati Radharani's desire to bring Krishna back to Vrindavan. And there's a picture, it's not so recent, but it's a picture nonetheless, of Jagannath Puri. That's not London, it's Puri. That's not Hyde Park in the background there. But this is Puri, and you can see the magnitude of the festival from that picture. The street is packed for as far as you can see. And all on top of the buildings, there's people everywhere. I don't know how many million people they say attend that festival, but it's a lot. We're not going to read this. Well, we'll read it, but we won't delve on it. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Vatera Sajani Deki Loke Chamatkar Navahema Maya Rata Sumera Akara. Everyone was astonished to see the decorations on the Rath car. The car appeared to be newly made of gold, and it was as high as Mount Sumeru, quite a high Rath car. It appeared to the devotees. And this is quite a famous purport, which Srila Prabhupada wrote to this verse in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, in the chapter dealing with Lord Chaitanya's dancing at Rath Yatra. So Lord Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport, in the year 1973, there was a gorgeous Rath Yatra festival in London, England, and the car was brought to Trafalgar Square. The London daily newspaper, The Guardian, published a front-page photo caption, ISKCON Rath Yatra is rival to the Nelson Column in Trafalgar Square. I'm sure you're familiar with this quote. The Nelson Column is a very impressive statue of Lord Nelson and can be seen from a good distance. Just as the residents of Puri compared the Rath Yatra car to Mount Sumeru, the residents of London considered the car a rival to Nelson Monument. Srila Prabhupada, amazingly expands that article in The Guardian to include all the residents of London. It's, well, from the spiritual point of view, there is no comparison to the mundane statue of Nelson, to the Rathayatra car, which is completely transcendental. Everything about the Rath car is transcendental. The ropes, I don't know, I wish I had time to research, but I can only remember that Subhadra's ropes are simply an expansion of Vasuki. They're all transcendental personalities. The wheels, the canopy, everything is a transcendental personality appearing to carry the Lord. Like that. And we don't realize it. Sometimes we take it a little bit for granted that just by pulling the rope, it's more effective. Just by pulling the rope once is more effective than thousands of Ashmeda yajnas. It's so powerful. We may not be quite there, but it's such an amazing festival. We'll hear more about that later. Oh, that's the picture which was in The Guardian, I believe. Yes, it was. Taken at a slight angle, almost as high. There are pictures which make the Rath car look much higher than Nelson's column, of course. And this is we're not going to go there particularly. I would love to, but our time is short. One of the most significant aspects of Jagannath Rath Yatra is the unending, unlimited mercy of Lord Jagannath and of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This is a mercy festival. The Lord gives His mercy to everyone. When you go to Puri, many of you have been to Jagannath Puri and you've seen, some of you may have been inside the temple if you happen to have a brown body, and especially if you were born in a Hindu family. If you're not, you will not be allowed in the temple in Jagannath Puri. But there is a deity of Lord Jagannath named Patit Pavana at the entrance of the temple there, who gives his darshan to everybody. But on Rath Yatra Day, Lord Jagannath, Baladev, Subhadra, they come out of the temple, as you know, and they are carried on tulis, they're cotton pads, by the very strong Daitas. Daitas are descendants of the Shabras who used to originally worship Lord Nila Madhava, who was the form in the earlier part of this, let's say, day of Lord Brahma, who was worshipped in this universe. And then, of course, he appeared as Lord Jagannath. That's a story which would take the whole time. Jagannath, Baladev, and Subhadra to be installed by King Indradyumna, Yudamanyu, and others in a glorious temple there in Puri. And to this day, he's been worshipped there in the form of Jagannath Baladev Subhadra, Lord of the universe. So he comes out after the Anavasara. Yesterday we saw Lord Jagannath leaving for London yesterday. Normally you won't see him until the Rath Yatra festival begins. But we had a special mercy yesterday. He came out a day early. He must have recovered quickly. You have very good doctors here. I don't know who the doctors were, but he recovered quicker than usual. So he came one day early, and he wanted to go to London for a day to get ready for the Rath Yatra. Probably maybe getting some new clothes for the Rath Yatra. Went shopping in Harrods or somewhere to get some new outfits. I don't know where he went. Somewhere yesterday. And today he will be coming out of Soho Street Temple to go to the Rath cart. So they take him out, the Pandavijaya ceremony in Puri, and that's a ceremony to bring the Lord off the altar. He's in seclusion during Anavasara, and onto the Rath carts. And then they're taken one by one, and these great, strong daitas, they're very powerful. They're originally from the pig herder caste, but they're like, some of them are like a little brahminical, little priestly. So they're the ones who look after Lord Jagannath during this period, and they take him onto the cart, and they bounce him on tulis, and it's a big festival, and everyone's, a huge kirtans going on. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is there, and he's in ecstasy when Lord Jagannath is coming out of the temple crying, Mahima, 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 and so on. And at the same time, the king of Puri, who has been almost giving up his body for years in separation from Lord Chaitanya, who would not give him darshan. Annually, the king of Puri sweeps the floor in front of the Lord as he comes out of the temple. Not when the cart starts moving, but when the Lord comes out of the temple onto the car. We do it when the chariot's moving, but the tradition is as he's coming out of the temple, he sweeps the floor and sprinkles the floor with beautiful sandalwood scented water and so on. And then the Lord comes up onto the chariots, all 3 separate chariots, of course. And Lord Chaitanya noticed the king rendering this menial service. Now the secret is not that he was necessarily rendering the service. We may also do that, but we may not get the same result. It's a matter of the attitude in the heart. The same with pulling the ropes. You may get freed of sinful reactions, but to enter into the kingdom of God is another thing. It's the question of the heart, the consciousness, whether it's kirtan, deity worship, pulling the chart, everything is all auspicious. But the degree of, let's say, the degree of reciprocation will depend upon our consciousness. So the king's conscious, he wasn't thinking, just see how humble I am. I'm the king of Orissa. I'm more than that, actually. And I'm sweeping the floor. Look at me. And I'm good at it also. See how good I am. Those thoughts never entered his consciousness. He was thinking how I'm the most fortunate person to be, although I'm the most unqualified, fallen, wretched creature, to have this opportunity to sweep the floor before the Lord of the universe. He was in a totally humble condition. Humility is the key to Rathayatra. And that's just a painting of the chariot going along. It doesn't, just get an idea. There's Lord Chaitanya. Now, if we have time, we'll read something about Lord Chaitanya's dancing. His dancing is one of the most ecstatic, let's say, sections of the Chaitanya Charitamrita to get us in the mood for Rathayatra. We cannot imitate Lord Chaitanya's dancing. It is not to be imitated. It is to be heard and to be meditated upon, but we cannot imitate it. Anyway, we won't say any more, but maybe we can read a little bit. Let's see. And while the Lord was dancing, there's a very wonderful pastimes took place. And Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, who was the priest of the king of Orissa, King Prataparudra, as we mentioned, he had several priests, but the lead priest was Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, who constantly assured him that don't worry, Lord Chaitanya will indeed give you his darshan in due course of time. Do not give up hope, even though he has refused to see you on so many occasions. He tried everything he could to get the darshan of the Lord, but the Lord would refuse him. Even Nityananda appealed to the Lord, but Lord Chaitanya would not budge. He said, I know he's a great devotee, but he goes by the name King. He goes by the name King, and I cannot see a king, a person who is worldly. But this was all Lord Chaitanya's reciprocation or relationship with King Prataparudra, to show the path of pure devotion. And this is the end of that pastime, which is a subject in itself, never ending, but this is you could say, the perfection of that pastime. Sorry about the poor quality. But at this point, on the parade, there's a place called Balagandi, which is has it disappeared from the screen? It's a shame. Did you see anything before this? All working until now? I have no answer. Who's the technician here? Panchatat was the technician. It'd be a shame not to see the rest. There's some work. Anyway, I'll carry on. At this point, Lord Jagannath stops. The Rath Yatra parade stops. You can't do this in London. They don't let you stop the parade. They push you forward, isn't it? You can't stop anywhere, practically. Shame, but that's like... Is it back on again? No. It's not back on. Is it back on? No. Pardon? Okay, it's trying again. Well, whatever Lord Jagannath's desire is, we just take it as it comes. We propose, he disposes. It'd be nice to see some of these early Rath Yatra pictures, but what to do. So there at Balagandi, the Rath Yatra carts comes to a standstill, carts come to a standstill, and Lord Jagannath, after having danced and danced with his associates for several hours, madly dancing, enters into the nearby park, Jagannath Balaba Gardens, and he enters in there, and this is the beginning of Vrindavan. As you know, the Rath Parade is basically going from Kurukshetra to Vrindavan, although in some ways it looks like it's the opposite way around. On our Rath Yatra in London, we start at the park and end up in the square. But anyway, you have to have transcendental vision. So that place they stop, and at that point, everyone brings offerings for the Lord. This is another merciful aspect of Lord Jagannath. There's no discrimination. You don't have to be a Brahmin or anyone who wants to offer with a sincere heart. Bring some preparation. The whole street, apparently, I've never seen, but the whole street, probably not now, but it used to be, completely covered with offerings. Tens of thousands of offerings for Lord Jagannath. We have reenacted this in places where we can stop, but that London is not one of them. Anyway, that's what goes on. And then Lord Chaitanya goes into the park with his associates, and they rest until the Lord has had his meal. And then they return for the rest of the leg of the parade. So Lord Chaitanya is lying there, and the king is on the street, and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya then informs him, now is your opportunity. Now enter into the garden. But first of all, you have to change your dress. Take off your king's dress and put on a simple dress of a mendicant. Tell me if it comes back on again. Oh, it is back on. We're back in the park. That was the break. He was having his prasadam. So you're not meant to see when the Lord takes his prasadam. So he takes his bhoga. So he's finished his meal. Now we're in the park. And the king puts on, as you can see, it's a bad quality slide, but at least it shows, a simple dress of a sadhu or a mendicant, a simple devotee. No one recognized him. And he entered in there, and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya told him like this, and then you take the permission of the devotees and you massage the Lord's lotus feet and legs, and you recite the Gopi Gita. And I assure you, you will get all the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. So this was what king was waiting for many years, this opportunity. He entered in, and the significance about changing the dress, because Prabhupada talks about that in terms of book distribution, that authorizing devotees to wear civil clothes when they go on, or any type of cloth that works for distributing books. Prabhupada writes it in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Says you can wear civil dress if it helps to distribute books. He writes it right there in the purport. It's a irrefutable statement of Srila Prabhupada. Whatever we wear, whatever's favorable. The king, to achieve his purpose, changed his dress. But the real thing is not the change of the external dress, it's the change of the heart. It's the heart. We have to take off our false identities, Sarva upadi vene muktam tat padatavena nirmalam. We have to get rid of all of these false identities of thinking we're Indians and English and men and women and brahmacharis. One of the significant things is, when, funny enough, Lord Chaitanya, before the Rath Yatra started, the parade that is, he chanted many verses, and among them was a famous verse, which you may know, Naham vipro na chanarapati na pivaisho na shudram naham vani na chipi novanasto yatirva, and so on. He chanted that verse before Lord Jagannath. Very significant. You're not a Brahmin, you're not a Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanaprasto, Sannyas. To remember who we are. We're not going out on the Rath Yatra parade for a social event. We're not going out, I don't know what the weather's going to be like today, to show off our latest hairstyle, or our latest dhoti, or our latest tilak marks, or our latest tune in kirtan, or whatever it is, our latest rhythm that we've learned on our djembe, whatever you play out there, or our latest dance style, or whatever, or just to socialize. I've seen some of the pictures in ISKCON now of Rath Yatra festivals. So many of especially the Indians, are on their mobile walking along in front of the Rath Yatra cart. It's really a shame. I don't want to use the word offensive, but it's close to it. It's close to it. Do you think the Lord will happily go back to Vrindavan if all the gopis were, on mobiles talking to their boyfriends, looking at the news? I don't think so. Isn't it? Remember, what the heck are we out there for? We're not out there to have a bit of fun. We're out there to please Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates and Lord Jagannath. That's what this festival is for. And by doing that, every single person who sees this festival is on their way back to Godhead. It may take time, but let's speed it up a little bit. I don't mean speed up the pulling, but speed it up by our consciousness. Focus on it. Enter into the festival. So anyway, having said that, King Prataparuddha massaged the Lord's lotus feet and legs and started to chant the go Jayati Tedikam. He was going on. Immediately Lord Chaitanya came to consciousness. He was in a kind of a semi-sleep condition. He woke, he said. He came to his consciousness. Carry on chanting, carry on chanting. And he did. He carried on chanting all the verses of the Gopi Gita until he came to the famous verse, Tava Katam Mitam Tapta Jivanam Kavibiriditam Kalmashapaham Shravana Mangalam Srimadatatam Bhuvi Vinantiye Burita Janaha. When he came to that verse, then immediately Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu rose up and grabbed the king in his arms and embraced him with both of his arms. You have given me the most valuable jewels of all. I have nothing to give you in return. I can simply embrace you again and again. And they danced together, embracing each other, chanting this prayer of Radharani over and over and over again. In this way, the king received the full mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with his humble service, his humble mentality, his humble heart. And there's a beautiful painting of Rath Yatra in Puri. So many paintings there. I would have loved to have shown some videos, but it's not possible at this point, of some early Rath Yatras and even Rath Yatras in Jagannath Puri, which were filmed during the British occupancy of India. Very exciting. They were quite respectful in some ways. Okay, we're going to start a little bit now. We're going into our present era. And as we all know, Srila Prabhupada, right from a young child, maybe 5 years old or something, insisted that he have his own Rath Yatra festival in Calcutta. So his father, Gomohan, obtained a little Rath car, and sure enough, little deities, and Abai, along with his friends, performed the Rath Yatra festival in the local neighborhood around the block, and everyone was very blissful. So that's just a beautiful little painting depicting that event in Calcutta. Way back there, about 1900, something like that. Well, here we go. This is not 1969, but it's probably 1970 in London. Can you see it? Is it on the screen or not? It is. And you can probably see quite a few London bobbies there. They call them, I don't think they call them bobbies anymore because you don't see them. You hardly see them now. They're all hidden in cars and things and vehicles. Occasionally you see them on the streets, but generally not. But then the streets were full of bobbies. They were called bobbies. They had these bobby hats, you know. And they were all, you know, you can see what they look like. They're all very official. And they're completely surrounding the whole parade. Like a, you know, all the way around, completely around the cart, everything. You'll see another one in a minute which shows them. And this is on the stage. Now, could you put me back to the other way? Because I can't see what I'm looking at here. I need to see on there, and some of the devotees you may even know, but I can't. There's one which shows the whole screen for me, and it still shows the whole screen for you, isn't it? Which one is it? Someone put it on this. It wasn't on this before. Swap displays, is it? Is it that one? Yeah, that's it. That's
no, but
oh, now you've got the other one on the screen up there. Okay, put it back. Oh, it's very simple. It's just one button press. If you don't know how to do it, put it back where it was before so everyone can see it, because I don't have to see it. Is it a full screen? No, it's not. You have to put the full, is it on now? Oh, you're a genius. You have to come with me. But no, you're not a genius. Oh, you put it back where it was before, okay. Stay there, okay. I can't see very well. I can see Kula Shaker on there. I can see Saraswati. I can see Sham Sundar. It's so small I can't see it. Anyway, they're all there. Hansa Dutta's there. And many other early devotees in London. Dhananjaya's there. Probably Balagopal, probably maybe Leela Shakti is there. I don't know. Maybe she came in maybe 90, maybe it's 70. She may or may not have been there. She came in 70, I think. And there is Leela Shakti. So this is, yeah, it's probably, maybe she just joined. That's her dancing. Many of you know, who knows Leela Shakti? Who knows Leela Shakti? That just goes to show how things have changed here. Any of you have heard of Kulangana? Anyone's heard of Kulangana? She's still remembered, huh? How many years ago she passed away? No way. 2014. Pardon? 17. 7 years, 8 years ago. Woo. Anyway, Leela Shakti, I saw her. We see her from time to time. She's still around in London, temple. But she was the Bajari of Radha Londoneshwar for goodness knows how long. 20, 30 years. And anyway, there she is. And other devotees too. And there's a little closer up picture with, you can, I don't know if you can see it well, the bob is right next to the chariot. It looks a little unusual chariot, doesn't it? Yeah, I don't know what it looks like. An elongated balloon or something. Interesting. Now we're moving forward. I really didn't get time to collect many pictures this morning. But 1973, the most famous Rath Yatra Prabhupada mentioned in his purport in London, this was probably the most famous of all. Srila Prabhupada was personally there. He came in 72 also, which was also quite famous. 1972. That was the first Rath Yatra I attended. Many of us initiated at that time on the square. We had the initiation right there under Lord Nelson's column, and the fire yagya, everything was held on the square itself. And that year, no one said anything. The officials didn't say anything, but they did. They complained about it, but they didn't stop us. And Prabhupada in 1973, they said, they actually said no to the fire. But so the devotees said, well, we're not going to have a fire, we'll just have a few candles. But they did the fire again in 73. And it was very famous and also had an interesting effect on future Rath Yatras in London. So on that picture you can see Hansa Dut, you can see Manu, you can see Revatinandan, there's Prabha Vishnu, Pritaputra Maharaj is there on that picture with Prabhupada dancing all the way. Prabhupada usually sat on, because only one cart in those days, so he would sit on his Vyasasam the whole parade, but that year he didn't sit on it at all. He never got up there for a minute. He danced the whole way from Marble Arch to Trafalgar Square. Longer parade, another kilometre. But he danced the whole way. And as you heard, probably Shruti Kirti probably was informed you of some of the events on the parade. He was the one who had to try to tell Prabhupada to stop dancing. A futile attempt. It's like telling Lord Chaitanya not to stop dancing or something. Insane. But he tried, but he wasn't successful, of course. And everyone was dancing like crazy. Well, I won't get into that. I told that story a few years ago on the 50th anniversary. But that is not 1973. I don't know. I was looking for the picture of 73, a specific picture which showed all the tents in the square, but I couldn't find it this morning, so it wasn't possible. But that is another year. I don't know. I can't say. It might be 72 or 74. I'm not sure. But you can see how crowded Trafalgar Square is. I say it's not 73 because the whole square was covered in state-of-the-art tents. Another thing which infuriated the council, because the devotees didn't really explain what they were doing till they did it. It's the only time in history I think this has happened in Trafalgar Square, that half the square was covered with tents. And not only that, but they hammered, with like big metal things into the square, bang, bang into the concrete, smashing slabs and so on. And as the Rath car came into the square, it knocked over several bollards. And coupled with all these various other events, the street being blocked on both sides by thousands of dancing devotees, so the traffic was built up like anything. The police were going crazy. And then the fire and the tents and everything else was just one thing too many for the local council. And that was when we had to desist from having the Rath car on the parade. So I'm not sure which year this is. I don't recognize it as 72, but that's why I think it's 74. Sabag Swami is on there. I can see Hari Krishna Das, Narahari, Bajahari. It's too small, I can't recognize, but many older devotees are on that picture. So that was, and most of that crowd, by the way, are white. They're white-skinned people. Do you know what they look like? White-skinned people. You see some sometimes on the street in London. They're still there sometimes, are they? In Paris, in many parts of Paris, you do not see, isn't it, Rasananda? You don't see any white-skinned people, right? Almost none. In many parts, even in some parts of the city centre, you hardly see a white man. London's not like that. Well, now we're going to San Francisco. Now, San Francisco Rath Yatra started, the first one to start. When did that start? San Francisco. When did it start? Apologize about, there's a little inset there called Getty Images. I probably meant to pay £300 for that picture. But anyway, it's just a Photoshop. Photocopy or whatever you call it. When did the first Rath Yatra in San Francisco start? Pardon? Somebody said, I heard, what was that you said? 67, and what do you say? 68. Any other rises on 68? Any other offers? 66. Any other suggestions? You'll get it. I mean, we've got it already, but it's interesting everyone's giving a different figure. 67. First one was right, 67. Prabhupada started the San Francisco chapter in 67, and before even, Jagannath was there, but there was just like a shot lock. There was no real temple in ISKCON. Before Radhakrishna anything came, he started the Rath Yatra festival. Jagannath was the first deities in ISKCON to be worshipped. Very significant, very important. And Rath Yatra was the first festival really to be held. Public festival of any significance was Rath Yatra. 67. I mean, there was only two centers, San Francisco and New York, and Prabhupada wanted them to have. And they did it on the back of an open back truck. It wasn't like a Rath Yatra car. They were very simple. I could have put a picture of that on there, but that's not very exciting. But they did it anyway, and it was very exciting. And they all got to the shore. They went to the shore on San Francisco, on the ocean. And while at the shore, it was hippie time, 67. There were so many hippies there. You know, Prabhupada was sick. He didn't go for the Rath Yatra. He stayed in Stinson Beach. He had a retreat center there. And the devotees were on the beach, and they really were having a great time. And it became even more blissful when some of the hippies were distributing sweets and candies to everyone free of charge. It was love and peace in those days, you know. And then many of the devotees also took these candies from, be careful, this is a warning, what you eat, what you don't eat. But they were taking them too, you know, simple candies. And they became extremely blissful. So blissful, they didn't know whether on the Earth planet or the Mars planet or where they were. They didn't realize that all the sweets were full of LSD. And the devotees were all intoxicated. And that's why many of them didn't see Prabhupada. They went up to see him afterwards, but many of them couldn't come. They were still completely intoxicated. So be careful. Don't eat food not offered to Krishna. You'll become intoxicated. That is an interesting picture of the Rath car in San Francisco at the end of the parade. They've kind of let it down. It looks very interesting how the people have stood around looking at it. You know what it looks like, I don't know. A deflated balloon. 67, 69. This is 69, not 67. These pictures are 69 in San Francisco. Tamal Krishna's there, Jayananda's there. Jayananda's right in the front, Tamal's on the chariot there. With Prabhupada's there. And there's Prabhupada. In 1970, I think we're at now. Tamal Krishna Maharaj, I think, is there. I'm not sure. Maybe that's him. And others at the Rath Yatra. Again, there's the parade. They used to go through Golden Gate Park in San Francisco, and they'd have this golden form of Lord Chaitanya dancing in front of Lord Jagannath. 3 carts had started by then. Lord Chaitanya dancing, as he would dance. He'd dancing. Lord Chaitanya's dancing, which was pulling Jagannath forward. And sometimes he stopped seeing the blissful dancing of Lord Chaitanya and his followers, and just to watch. And sometimes then Lord Chaitanya would go to the back and push, and then Lord Jagannath would go forward, and like this the festival was going on. So they'd have this beautiful, huge model of deity of Lord Chaitanya, golden form, on the parade in front of Lord Jagannath. And there he is in the square. You can see Lord Chaitanya there. And Srila Prabhupada sat on the stage at the front. And there were thousands and thousands of young hippies mostly sat in the audience. Huge area. Keshava Bharati Maharaj was telling me the other day, he was there. He was at the back. This is not 70, this is actually 74, this one, I believe. He was at the back on the book table with Vaisheshika Prabhu. And they were looking. They could see the whole crowd. And there's a famous scene on that stage where Prabhupada stood up, and there he is, raising his hands. And everyone's Bahudaks Prabhu's there, and Jayatirtha's there, and so many devotees are there. Subal, Sudama, and there's Madhavisa's there, and I can see so many are there. Amazing festival. And Prabhupada rose his hands, and the whole audience he said to me, when he said to me the other day, he said, the whole crowd, thousands of people, rose and put their hands up and started to dance like crazy when Prabhupada put his hands up like that. And Prabhupada started jumping. You can see it in the video. He's jumping up and down in ecstasy. Don't know what happened there. Oh, that's the end. We've come to the end of that. Okay, shortened version. Got a longer one. So now I'm going to just read some ecstatic things about the significance of this Rath Yatra festival. I have a question. I don't know if anyone can answer it. Probably not. But this morning, Antaranga Prabhu read from, what are you reading from? What is that? Namanrita? I don't know if he chose that purport. Did he choose it? Maybe he chose it. This morning's one. You chose it, did you? Okay, he must have been quick, because that was one of the ones I was going to read as a quote. It's one of the quotes. I'll read some others. Anyway, here's one to Bhaktivedanta in 1973. Prabhupada writes, "Now introduce Rath Yatra. That was my childhood activity. I want to see my disciples all over the world introduce 2 items, opening Radha Krishna temples and Rath Yatra festivals. Do this under the protection of Guru Garanga." In 1973, Prabhupada, one thing which many of those perhaps don't agree on, maybe don't understand, I don't understand, whatever, but Srila Prabhupada would sometimes change his, let's say, directives according to time, place, and circumstance. Whatever worked to achieve the purpose was Prabhupada's mood, generally. It wasn't like, the famous example Prabhupada gave, mother is born naked, therefore she should always be naked. He would sometimes say like that. It doesn't mean that things should always externally stay the same. Internally, everything remains. The philosophy is not changeable. How you present it may change, just like we heard about changing dress. So later on, 1977, for instance, Srila Prabhupada gave the directive that now we need lots of outreach preaching, not so much temples, but outreach preaching centers with little cafes and preaching rooms. That was the last directive Prabhupada gave on Western preaching in terms of detail. 2 items. So at that time, yes, you wanted to see temples all over the world in different countries like that. This book distribution and Rath Yatra festivals should go on all over the world. I want to introduce this Rath Yatra festival program all over the world. Talking about book distribution, there's a very nice devotee outside the door there. I presume he's still there. And he has a nice display of Prabhupada's books for all the nice people in London today. They're not for us exactly. They're for us to share with the people on the street. This is how Lord Jagannath will really smile on you. Dancing, pulling the ropes, distributing prasadam, whatever the services are required, and especially the distribution of books. I missed the 1973 parade because I was asked to distribute books. So I got stuck at Marble Arch for 2 hours distributing books before I managed to find out where they went. And like that. This is how you really get Lord Jagannath's special mercy, by distributing books. How you can go back to Vrindavan always try to distribute books wherever you are, even if you're in the... I have one disciple, 78 years old, well, she doesn't do it now, but she was going to the ocean, swimming every day. She sold a Bhagavad Gita in the ocean while she was swimming. When they came out of the water, she preached to in the ocean, and they got out, she sold him a Gita. She had them in her bag on the shore. Take books wherever you go. Whether you're going to the bath, not when you're going to take your shower in the house, you don't need it. You can if you can read it. But on the street, in a clinic, in a shop, visiting friends, in the office, take Prabhupada's books with you. So please, you'll see out there, I think you can get the books off him now if you're going to the Rath Yatra, and you can keep some in your bag. And maybe you'll remember you've got them there, and maybe you will be very fortunate to offer them to somebody, and that fortunate person will be receiving an enormous amount of mercy. The association of Srila Prabhupada. You're giving them Prabhupada's association. Please do it. Everyone can do at least one book today. There's 10,000 devotees, that would be 10,000 books. At least try. See. That was the Madhavisa letter. And here's one to Bhutatma Prabhu, which Prabhupada wrote when he was here in the Manor. If we introduce this festival, Prabhupada says, in all major cities of the world alongside with book distribution, then in no time we will conquer the whole world. Yes, Prabhupada said. We will conquer the world by Rath Yatra and book distribution. And I won't read the next one. It was read this morning. One or two small ones, and then we'll finish. You will be pleased to know that in the Western world also there will be held several grand-scale Rath Yatra festivals. This is in 1969. He's writing to, I think, one of his godbrothers. Our temples in San Francisco, London, Boston, Buffalo, and New York are all planning very gorgeous parades and ceremonies very similar to the ones held in Puri. Prabhupada was very proud of these Rath Yatras. Prabhupada would try to go to as many Rath Yatras as he could. That's how you got Prabhupada to come to your temple. You would put on a Rath Yatra and say, please Prabhupada, come. Or you would have an installation of deities. In 1969, at the third San Francisco festival, Srila Prabhupada spoke these words. I couldn't find them. I was searching and searching. I've got them. They're in the Back to Godhead, but I couldn't find the actual lecture itself. My dear American boys and girls, I thank you very much for your taking part in this great festival known as Lord Jagannath's Rath Yatra. This inauguration of the Rath Yatra festival will bring a new chapter in the history of the world. It is that potent. It is stated in a Vedic literature that anyone who sees Lord Jagannath seated on this chariot, I think it should be his chariot, will never again have to take birth within this miserable material world. Anyone who sees Lord Jagannath on his chariot will never have to take birth again in this world. Whew. So important is this festival. And I know that devotees are doing it. Parshuram Prabhu and others are doing this festival all over the country, and others also, Titikshu and others. It's such an amazing service. Just by doing this service, you are guaranteed to go back to Godhead. There's no question about it. It's so dear to Srila Prabhupada. So please, today, make Prabhupada, if you could understand, or we could understand that Prabhupada is there dancing, would you be on your mobile? Would you be spacing out? Would you be talking about unnecessary things? No way. You will be completely absorbed in Srila Prabhupada's dancing, and dancing also, and singing at the top of our lungs. Sing at the top of your lungs. Don't just walk along like a statue. Silent. even the Madanga players, they wouldn't be allowed to play the Madanga unless they were singing. It wouldn't be allowed in those days. If you were playing the Madanga and not singing, then you'd have the Madanga taken away from you. We're out there to sing the holy name loudly, with all our hearts. Pull the ropes, distribute books, distribute prashadam, whatever else is going on out there. Whatever it may be. Preach to the guests at the square nicely. You don't just go there, eat and go. This festival is for everyone. That's why Lord Jagannath is going out there. He's not going out there only for us to have a good time. He's going out there to bless everybody. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Jagannath Ratayatra ki jai. Go Premanandi. Please, please, please. I mean, you can talk to that devotee. I don't know his name, but he's got books out there. Please, at least take one. You can take a packet of 5 or a Bhagavad Gita. Take something with you. You will find someone who will buy it. It's not you might, you will. There's no doubt about it. If you want to. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. I think so. Thank you so much. You're wonderful.
But I've made it bigger.
Pardon?
So you were expecting the